この感触、この匂い。ハンバーガーがドリンクポテト付きで出てきた。
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We have another box opening, this time for OP15. So just like I normally do, I'll just kind of yap about things that I'm thinking and whatever comes to mind while we open some packs. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Starting here, we have the dash pack. I don't remember what all is in these possibly, but we do get Kyros, which is actually a pretty playable card, so that's a good pull. Set that aside. I know somebody who's building Rebecca, so that will be useful for them. And then hopping into it. So for this set, I'm feeling a little more ambiguous on what deck I want to play than usual. Brook is quite interesting, but I feel like it's not quite their power level yet. It's real close, but there's just a lot of times where you just run out of gas a little bit before you would like to, and it's kind of hard as one to commit to. I don't mind decks that have a little bit of fluff in them, but it's generally not my favorite place to be, to not have kind of good matchups into the meta. I like to win enough. Going 2-2 is fine, but when I feel like it's not getting a chance to do otherwise is not great. So we have our first Dawn here, and Kyros and Arlong loading up on the Kyroses early here. But yeah, Brook feels like it's almost there. I wish it was a little bit less dependent on finding your choppers and your pirate docking. Hopefully in a future set we will get some alternatives to at least the pirate docking. It being a brick makes it really hard to feel good running a full playset of them in your deck. Just a tough deck building thing, especially as a 4-life leader. Having to run bricks that are definitely not going to help you survive with your 4-life is not a great feeling. So I'd like to see something that potentially allows you to fill that spot in the curve, maybe an even costed card to help balance it out, with some alternative sorts of things. So we hit both of our Dawn already, which is pretty quick. So that's interesting to have hit them both so early. I think that means we do not get a Golden Dawn in this box, but I am actually unsure on how Golden Dawn works with the rest. But yeah, back at Brook, there's a lot of neat things you can do with it, and I do think that it is a really good deck at catching people off guard. But I do feel for sure that there is a lot of times where you can have everything kind of get away from you because your opponents are just getting to play to their game plan more, and you're kind of like ramping's not the right word, racing to the end game, and sometimes you aren't set up properly for it. And being a 4-life leader with a good number of bricks means you oftentimes will struggle to finish the game at the right time. Nico Robin, this is one that I really want to try in the Robin deck. I feel like this is the kind of card that, especially if you are going second, being able to ramp into 7 is actually really strong. Giving you 2 bodies on board for 7 Dawn is actually really strong for the deck. The biggest question mark is how do you leverage those bodies into pressuring your opponent. A lot of times you want to, in the Robin deck, pressure their board, but by that point in the game they really aren't going to have very much in the way of board, so you're going to be kind of incentivized to go at life there. And then a more aggressive Robin, which, while I don't think it is a bad place to be, I'm not sure it is where the deck wants to be. because it kind of undoes what your leader does with that extra pressure that you can place on them with your leader. But maybe that much board spread at that early point in the game is worth it. Nami, oh, we have Nami. Nice that we get these back-to-back here. The Nami and the Brook. I think this is my last Brook that I need. And another Nami, so I think we need a couple more Namis. But good to see that we're getting the SRs that we want. The other one that I want to see, and as you guys have seen on my channel, I'm looking at Red Yellow Bonnie as another deck that I'm interested in playing. So I'd like to see some of the cards for Red Yellow Bonnie, maybe a Borsalino, 7-drop, 7-drop Zoro, and maybe the secret, what's it called? The secret Luffy, the Gear 5 Luffy that lets you become a 9K. In Red Yellow Bonnie, which I think is quite good. I've actually found that deck has a little more depth than my initial plays have played with, because you have to kind of like plan when you're going to go to 9K leader a little more distinctly, and I think that balance is going to be interesting for how to make the deck work, because obviously you can't. If you have a set number of times you can go to 9K, what is the order that you deploy them out in? That's, I think, where the skill expression in the deck is mostly going to come from. And then finding places to leverage your leader ability is going to be the other. Is it better to run stuff like Min Beckman and play a little bit more control-y? Or is it better to play more freeze-style cards? Ooh, perfect. This Luffy is exactly the one that we want for Red Yellow Bonnie. We'll need 3 more of these, I think. I don't know if you will necessarily always run a full playset, but having access to a playset I think is probably important for fine-tuning that deck. But yeah, do you run cards like Ben Beckman, or do you run cards like S-Snake to try to freeze out their bodies? Depends a lot, I think, on what the particular meta is. I think in the context of a Nell, you want the freeze, because you your S-Snakes can freeze their big NL cards. Actually, let's set this one aside. This one, I guess, counts as a hit. But freezing their big NLs is actually quite strong. And then trying to find opportunities to kind of freeze the rest of their board and really set them off of their tempo will be interesting. I don't know if it's enough to make the NL matchup good, but there's definitely some tech to be had in those freeze slots here. Ooh, Zoro, this is a great one. Definitely one that I would want to play in that Sky Island version of Robin, because one of the things that you struggle with while your hand goes low, you can just use your life to try to acquire those cards back, and kind of not requiring a bit of counter on that turn, so it kind of gets you 2 ways. But yeah, yeah, Red Yellow Bonnie, I think there's room for skill expression that I'm still exploring and trying to find what the correct balance is. Obviously, it's tough when a lot of decks can run their really high value, like Lucy running Sabo, who can attack you and attack without any investment into your 9K life, or 9K leader when you're playing the Red Yellow Bonnie, and then get a whole bunch of other value off of it as well, making it a kind of tough matchup there. And then being as expensive as it is, it means it's hard to interact with any of your interaction pieces. A 9K is also hard to deal with on the power side. So definitely a lot of different things that make that card in particular problematic for you to interact with. If it had been a 7-cost 8K, it would have been significantly easier to play around, but it wasn't meant to be. Oh, here we have one of our alt arts here, Gin. Not high on my list of ones that I was looking for, but I do know a player who is playing Dunkrieg, so I will definitely put that up for trade for him. And hopefully be able to acquire the rest of the cards I need for my different decks. What other decks are we interested in? I am interested in seeing where the black package goes into next set, because I think that we've seen a good number of cards out of the black Yamato archetype for next set have been Straw Hats, which is great to see, because it means that it's a little bit of support at least for Brooke, as long as they're the correct type, or I mean not type, cost to interact with our characters. We have we have access to the Nami to heal. Oh, perfect. Zoro is great for us. We have access to the Nami to not heal, but to revive a character from our life. And as long as those good cards are available out of the Wano package, if they happen to be the Straw Hat type, I think that Brooke will be able to take advantage of those. And then for Bonnie, the Blackbeard stuff I don't imagine will be super useful, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple individual cards that pop up that are either Egghead or Straw Hats in other colors. Yellow in particular is supported by a couple different leaders, so I would be expecting to see some number of yellow Straw Hat pirates as well, either in Egghead or in what's it called, or in Sky Island. So those would be nice to see for our yellow Bonnie leader, or red yellow Bonnie, I should say. And then I'm actually really interested in seeing what happens with Yamato. I've been really enjoying black decks more recently. I didn't like them when they were so removal focused very much. But now that they're finding other ways of making black an interesting color pair, I have been definitely enjoying the the color a lot more. Crocodile was a lot of fun. Brooke has been fun, even if I feel like he needs a little bit more juice to get there. And then I'm looking forward to Yamato as well. We're expecting maybe one more hit here, maybe not. I guess it technically could be the end of our hits at this point, but we'll hold out hope for a little bit more. But if this is it, that would be a box. So as we start to get to the end, I guess putting questions to you guys, what are you guys looking forward to in this OP15? What decks are you building? And what are you looking for the future as well? Because I do think that there's a couple different decks that don't have all the support they need right now, but could find it in the future. Like Brooke, I think that we could see a little bit more Dressrosa stuff in blue for maybe Rebecca. Could be interesting. What else do we have? The East Blue stuff, I think, is also probably going to get just a little bit more support to go for Dunkrieg. And then, of course, we're always looking for stuff for old leaders to be fun. Need, I think, one more of these Luffys, so that's a good hit, even though it's not a hit. And then our final pack here doesn't look like it's a leader, so this may very well might be our last, our two hits here in this Luffy and the Jin. And we'll see how we wrap up. Zeph. Hawk Gatling. I actually haven't read this one. What is this one? You add one card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Add up to one Egghead type character from your hand to the top of your life cards face up. Then give up to one of your opponent's minus 1,000 for the turn. Interesting. This would definitely be one you'd have to combo pretty well with other cards. Obviously it worked Oh, it's only character cards. So this is looking more so like a you put an Usopp or a Vegapunk card where you would put your Vegapunk's trigger cards. Yozo, Solomon, Evond, and Kobe. So yeah, these are our only two hits for this box here. We have the Gin. This is actually a really solid card. If your leader has East Blue type, I wouldn't be surprised to see another East Blue type leader in red at some point in the future. Just because if this is only going to be Don Krieg, then it feels weird to have it worded that way. And then we have our Luffy, which is a great hit for Radial Bonnie, who we'll get to in a couple weeks or so. But thanks again for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next video, and hope you are looking forward to Brook, who we should see this week. But until next time, bye.